up, guys? We just went to go see the new It movie starring Bill Skarsgård, and we are over here at the Alamo Draft House in Richardson, Texas, because they're having, some kind of event where they're having kind of this carnival theme thing where they had popcorn, they had a whole bunch of different stuff, clowns walking around, and they even had free face painting here.
And we thought since we're here, might as well just have the review here as well.
And this movie is about a small town where numerous amounts of missing children reports have occurred, so far as to the town has actually set a curfew for all of these kids so that they can't be out by a certain time. And a group of 7 kids realize that all these missing children reports have some way been connected to a mysterious monster that disguises himself as a clown. So these kids decided to band together to stop him. Back in the 90s, there was a TV show called It, and both this movie and that TV show were both based off of a book called It, written by Stephen King. And the show, if you ever watch it, it's actually a pretty interesting show. We're actually thinking about maybe reviewing it sometime or another. I realize a lot of people love the old TV show so much as they may not even go see this movie, but I want to let y'all know that I would highly recommend going to see this movie because it is just so wonderful, so scary, and it goes to depths and goes to fear that the old TV show just couldn't get to because of the censors.
And I would barely classify this movie as a movie. It's more of an experience, to be honest. It's almost non-stop with the scares and the creepiness. They barely give you any time to catch your breath and get a breather before they get on to the next creepy part.
And one big thing I do want to bring up about this movie is that it is a horror movie, obviously, and one big thing that happens whenever people hear the term horror movie is they think of non-stop jump scares. Now the thing about this movie is that the jump scares, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are a few, but they make sense for why they're there. They're not just random jump scares, they're not cheap shots, they are truly there to put you in the atmosphere of this movie.
Even though there were some jump scares in this movie, they didn't rely on them too much. They mostly relied on the good writing and the imagery that they had throughout this entire movie.
The acting is fantastic, especially, I'm going to say the kids were just great in this movie. And, a lot of movies, they'll bring in these kids and you're just like, why are these people in this movie? Because they're just terrible actors, and this movie's just expecting us to accept it because they're kids. But this movie truly takes its audience seriously and gives us these actual really good actors.
Unfortunately, I myself haven't watched the old miniseries, so I can't say anything about Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise, but Bill Skarsgård's performance in this new It movie just truly chilled me to my bones.
And there's one thing I was reading about this movie from some of the trailers, and that is that some people didn't like Bill Skarsgård's voice as Pennywise. But I will tell you, rest assured, that this performance by Bill Skarsgård was fantastic, and his voice was perfect.
And his laugh.
Because the scene in the trailer that everybody saw was a scene where he's talking to Georgie in the sewer drain. And in that scene, it did sound a little forced in the trailer, but in the movie you really begin to realize that is not his voice throughout the entire movie. That is his kind of playful voice that he's trying to use to lure Georgie in. And the rest of the movie, he is just so perfect with his voice in every way. And another beautiful thing about this movie is that it has 7 characters, 7 kids, and they found time to truly make these characters feel like characters. They feel like people. And they take their time with these characters, and what's amazing is they actually find time to, at one point, they will have something going on in their life to where you can see that, but then they'll bring in their way of getting contacted by Pennywise, and it just all flows together amazingly.
The surprising element in this movie for me was the comedy that they had in it, which mostly stemmed from the group of kids, and especially the kid named Richie.
So I'm just telling you, you guys are splashed around in millions of gallons of dairy pee. So, are you serious?
Doesn't smell like caca to me, senor.
Who was played by Finn Wolfhard, who played on Stranger Things. The comedy didn't feel forced. Most of the jokes actually made me laugh pretty hard.
And to add on to that, you know, we've said it a few times already, but these characters feel like characters, and they truly feel like the characters that they're supposed to be, which are these middle school kids. And whenever something like this is going on, they're not just going to get all serious at all times. They're going to throw out jokes. They're going to throw out these cuss words all the time. And in this movie, there is cussing by these kids, but it doesn't feel like over-the-top cussing. It feels like middle schoolers just, you know, they want to cuss because they're not around their parents, so they just throw out a few cuss words here and there because, you know, that's just them being freeful, them being kids, and they fully feel like kids.
And in the future, I honestly think that we're going to look back at a lot of the scenes, especially in the first half of the movie. We're going to look back at them as truly iconic scenes because of how creepy they were and how original they were. Most of these things that I've never really seen in a horror movie, and they didn't feel like cliche, creepy moments. They truly felt like original ideas.
And also, I know what you're all thinking, does this movie have any cliched moments? Now, at one point, I can say that it does. There are a few moments that are slightly cliched, but at the same time, it's hard to have these kind of horror movies without it. But this movie does something very nice with these kind of scenes in which they kind of feel almost necessary that these kids do these actions, and also that they're kids, they're not adults, and so it kind of makes sense for them to have this curiosity about what's going on around them.
Now, one thing I can say about this movie is sort of nitpicking, so it's not a huge, really negative for me. But a lot of things that happen in the first half of the movie, wherever the kid starts having these encounters with Pennywise and seeing these really creepy things, like right after they ended, they sort of like brushed them off. The kids, it didn't seem like they had that big of an impact on these kids until later on in the movie. But I feel like if I was a kid and I was seeing some of these things, I wouldn't just like brush it off and start hanging out with my friends like nothing happened.
And I know we've brought up creepiness a few times already, but I gotta say, I don't think we can talk enough about how creepy this movie was. This is probably one of the scariest movies that I've seen in a while.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, like a long time, years. Okay, this movie, I was just shaking. My heart was beating the entire movie, and it was just so amazing. As of negatives for me, there aren't many, but there is one, and that is, I feel like the end, there are a few things that they could have explained a little bit more, just so we could kind of fully know what happened in some things. So guys, please go and see this movie. I highly recommend it. It is definitely not like any horror movie I've seen. It definitely goes against all those cliches and all those things we've already seen. So I'm gonna say that it is 90% awesome.
Like I said earlier, this movie is truly an experience, and if a movie can make you feel that way, then I think it deserves a high grade. So I'm gonna say that it is 95% awesome.
Wait, what was that? Our grading system is different. Yes, as we decided to kind of have our own little thing. We decided that like a letter grade system was just kind of too generic, so we wanted something that was our own. So we decided to go with percentages of awesomeness. So if you like this grading system, let us know, because we really do think it's pretty cool, this new grading system we have, and pretty original. So guys, if you like this video, don't forget to click right here to subscribe. Also, go in the comments below and let us know what you thought about this movie, because I'm really interested in seeing everybody's opinions on whether or not they like this movie, because I truly loved it.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2awesomemen.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.